I'm excited to introduce Craig and Michelle from Monster Laundry. They are just crushing it in wash and fold and pick up and delivery. They've grown their business. They just started about a year ago in wash and fold. So they're based out of Sacramento. And I'm excited to hear their story about how they got into the laundry, what their secrets to success are, more about their brand, because you can see just, you got the Monster shirts, you got the Monster logo, and just excited to hear more about your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. That was a nice introduction. Yeah, I guess we can kind of start with kind of where this whole thing started. And looking back, in just prep for this discussion, it started about 5 years ago. Michelle and I started exploring different Main Street businesses that we could create or build. We explored quite a few. We were interested in laundry because it has a fairly simple business model that you can go small or you can expand it quite largely. We talked to many different laundry owners, we got different advisors, and we finally settled on the laundry. Ultimately, this is a service industry. We're attempting to help people make their lives better, whether it's through the self-service end of the company or all the way up into pickup and delivery. But foundationally, we're looking to create a business. It's a family business that can be passed on potentially to our family in the future. And the idea of Monster kind of came from, we're going to handle monster amounts of laundry. And that's where Monster came from. So we've established that brand and spent quite a bit on the branding and setting the presence for the company. That's our story. Mm-hmm. And we've been operational for about a year and I guess 5 months now or so. Yeah. And it's been quite a journey.
I love the logo because it's been more of a recent kick of mine, to kind of looking around, different logos. And a lot of times people just get started and, okay, let's get a picture of a washing machine and add our name to the right. And sometimes it's the exact same washing machine, downloadable icon that everybody's using, and it's easy to do. And you guys, right from the get-go, and that works, by the way, I'd say most people, that's what they do. And if you did do that, no problem. You could always rebrand and, hey, introducing the new logo. So it's not like you're stuck with it. But it's really cool that right from the get-go, you decided to take your branding seriously. And I was just wondering, that's a new level of sophistication that didn't occur just a few years ago in the laundry business. What made you just focus so much on the brand where a lot of people are just like, oh, I got a laundromat, let's go accept quarters? What was the driving force?
It is a good question. And it stemmed from kind of my research around how do you make an impact with a business. You need something to hinge off of that people can visually relate to and see. I'll tell you, we've got our laundry van. People see the logo, the logo mark going by in the color, mm-hmm. and they're like, whoa, that's Monster. They can identify it. I mean, I've been driving and the van's gone by a couple of streets down. Immediately, you said, that's us. That impression, those eyeballs on this logo and this wording, and it's professional. This logo went directly into Curbside in the receipts that are printed out. Every receipt has this logo on it. It's just reinforcing this is Monster. The decision was really about creating a customer experience that they could remember, relate to, and understand that this is us. This is a trademarked logo. Mm-hmm. The trademark represents the work that comes out of this facility. We focus on that also. Quite a bit of effort goes into quality control.
I'm not sure if you read Seth Godin's Purple Cow book. He's a marketing genius, and he goes, when people see the purple cow, they remember it because it's unique. And I think that's the way with Monster. And people get excited when people see the Super Suds vans. I've got friends go, oh, hey, I saw the Super Suds van, and it's recognizable, and they get happy when it's like hearing that jingle from a commercial. It's like, oh, there's that jingle again. And it helps make an impression. And you also touch upon something else, which just goes back to the level of sophistication we're now seeing in the laundry business, which is you've trademarked it. We did too, Super Suds and then also Curbside Laundries. And even with the trademark, I recommend to everybody to do a reverse search on their own logo. Because one thing I found was our logo is now downloadable off of iStock imagery, and a lot of times you hire somebody from these different websites to make the logo, and they just download it from somebody else. So we did a reverse search. We sent a cease and desist to the different graphic companies that were just reselling our logo that we paid for, that we had custom designed. One, you got to get the trademark, and number two, you got to protect it. Otherwise, people are going to resell it and make money off of reselling your hard work. When you first got started with the laundromat, did you know you're going to be doing wash and fold? Did you know you're going to be doing pickup and delivery?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a full service laundry center. We offer everything that you can think of with regard to laundry, including pickup and delivery, the drop-off service, self-service. We offer alterations and dry cleaning. We outsource the dry cleaning. And
we're like a one-stop shop.
That's
is
right.
What we tell the customers. So when we go pick up their laundry, then we can pick up everything else. So they don't have to make multiple trips to multiple locations. So it's just one bag to us, and then we'll take care of everything.
So you've had rapid growth in wash and fold and pickup and delivery. Back in March, about a year ago, you were doing about average for Laundromat doing wash and fold. This year, your March numbers are 10 times what they were just a year ago. How have you been able to handle that growth in terms of processing, productivity, creating the systems in place?
A lot of it, I think, has to do with curbside. When Craig picked curbside, I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, are you sure? Is this what you can do? I mean, my idea was a little bit different, but once we got into it, because I run a lot of the operations, so I'm the one that's training all the attendants on the curbside. It's such an easy service and an easy platform to use, and it's so easy to train my attendants. It's just so easy to use. When we started the laundry, it was a paper and pen. Yeah. Everything was paper and pen. It was so hard to track. It was so hard to do literally everything. With curbside, everything is documented. I can go back in, I can see where's the fail between my attendants, when is the switch off. So I think curbside has to do a lot with how we've been able to grow, because everything is in one place. And Craig and I can just go in and check where it is, or even when it's been delivered and then we have issues with a customer, I can go back into curbside and see exactly what happened and where it is. Yeah. That's from at least the operations side of things. So.
Yeah, I'd say that dovetails into our vision around customer service. Just the other day I had a customer call, pickup delivery customer. He's like, hey, I'm here at my house. It's 12 o'clock. You haven't delivered. Where are we at? I said, oh, we're running a little bit behind. Let me check real quick. Pulled up curbside, the driver side of it, and I saw that our driver, that was the very next stop. I said, very next stop. And he goes, oh, hold on. He's at the door. And that was it. The traceability of the functions through this laundry facility using curbside, it allows us to know where things are at. We're concerned about quality control. And if we have a package that goes out and it comes back, the customer's like, it didn't work so well, what's happened? We can go back to the exact attendant. We can see who picked it up from the delivery aspect, the person that processed it through the washer and dryer. We have a chain of custody where once one of our attendants starts an order, it stays with them through the entire process of folding. So once the person's washing it, they're going to be folding it, packaging it. And we can go back to that attendant and have a discussion, say, hey, what happened here? There's just so many different aspects of curbside that make our operation superb. It's kind of hard to talk about all of them.
So many great points. And I had somebody, he's going, hey, I'm using the software and I'm having these different problems, and he explained it to me. And he goes, how would your software have stopped that from happening or handle that? And I said, well, there's actually 7 different ways that issue would never have happened in the first place. And I went bullet by bullet point. And, during software demos, you can't really get into each point because it just kind of bore people. A lot of it is nuanced details that I think only the laundry owner could really appreciate once they're actually in the business doing it. And a lot of times you see software that's just good enough to sell. Something we pride ourselves is that we're in the business, we're doing it, we're using it. This is just great to hear as well, because when we first got started and my brother was running the laundromat and growing the online presence and growing the business, we started running into a problem, which was managing the business. We were using the paper tickets. Customers would have to find their own laundry in the back room because we didn't know where it was. It was just very humbling. Yeah. And we didn't even want to call our software a point of sale because it was short selling it. We want to call it a business process management solution because that's what it really is. It does the point of sale, yes, but it does everything in between from drop off to pick up and helps keep us organized, because we were worried that as fast as we were growing, we'd be losing business by not doing a good job for our clients. So it's great to hear, our vision is working not just for us, but for other people. And then you bring up a really good point, which is that customers' perception is their reality. And if you don't have the documentation and the history, we had a customer come into Super Suds, and she goes, I dropped off, I forget how many hundreds of pounds it was. She does all these like sports teams, wash and fold for them. And then we gave her back her laundry, and she goes, no, I gave you back a lot more. But we were able to timestamp it and look at the video, and everything was exactly what we said it was, down to the 1/10 of a pound. And then she goes, oh, you know what? I'm a small lady, and there are big bags. But if we didn't have all that documentation and the proof, she would have thought we lost all of those clothes. And that would have been her reality. And how do you argue that? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad you chose curbside. And
you asked the question, how do we scale 10 times? We've utilized a lot of the attendant labor that's currently, we're open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So we have a lot of tenants hours in there. So far we've been utilizing a lot of the folding, the wash dry fold of the attendants. We are at a staff of, 15 people at this point in the operation, and there are a lot of part-time workers. So we're starting to verge on having full-time workers in that growth cycle of 10xing. I'd say that the scalability of this, that Michelle and I, we won't stop at hiring folks to keep this going. So I expect our growth to continue over the next year for sure, if not quite a bit more than that.
And you visited Super Suds, right? Was that shortly after you got started, or how?
No.
What did that look like?
Actually, we took
about a year ago.
We took ownership 11th of January 2024. Our visit to Super Suds was in March. February, March, of 2024. So it was right after we had December.
We just started curbside.
December,
We didn't. It would just start at curbside, and then we visited Super Suds.
It was a big piece of it is seeing the operations at Super Suds, hearing from Linda, the trials and tribulations, what you have to watch out for. Even just driving around with the drivers. I spent a good afternoon with one driver, and Michelle was in the morning, just seeing what a driver route looks like. There's things you just don't think about. And once you see it in action, it helps quite a bit to say, okay, well, this is what an operation will look like. We have different techniques we've applied here. Michelle's innovated, and it helps to keep everybody organized. Communication is key between the different shifts.
That's something we offer to all our curbside clients, is to visit Super Suds behind the scenes, free of charge, just because we feel it's going to help them on their journey. And then you guys retooled. Before we started with the podcast, you said something really fascinating to me, which was you want to be like the Nordstroms of laundry. And so if you could kind of expand upon that and how that ties in with the retool.
If we're going to offer our customer options, we want to give them the best possible option they can ever imagine. And that does kind of stem to this comment of, we want to be the Nordstroms of laundromats for this entire area. When they come here, they get an experience that's beyond what they can imagine. And with that, we approach the store as, what would it be like to walk into a store? Is it dirty? No, we don't want a dirty store. We want it to be clean. When a customer walks into the store, every time somebody walks in, it's always, hi, welcome into the laundry. And that's just inherent with all of our attendants. Michelle and I are here. It's kind of like the old Cheers show when Norm would walk in and everybody goes, Norm! But basically that's what's happening in here. It's a fun, safe environment. It's a laundry. Fun is a relative term there, but it's a safe and friendly. Part of that was retooling the entire store, configuring the right level of machines to handle the volume we were expecting. Also having that white space to allow people to move around the store and not just have wall-to-wall machines. So there's a whole process of designing a store and setting it up properly.
We use with colors too, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
We use really, really bright colors. And I still remember the first time we talked about colors, I brought it up to Craig, and Craig was like, there is no way I'm using these colors. It was teal and purple. He's like, there's no way I'm using this color. It's just, no. And we were at a restaurant, and I actually took the color sample and I showed our waitress, and I'm like, what do you think of this? Just let me know. And she goes, this is great. This looks really good. And then we had the colors with our logo, and we are very fortunate to have a really great CrossFit gym that we are part of. So we talked to the owner, and we actually put out a survey to all the members to select the colors. So solidify on the colors, solidify on the logos, the logo marks, and besides being clean and bright, it's one of the, biggest thing for us in customer service.
Yeah, we hire on customer service, cleanliness, and the ability to wash, dry, fold. If our attendants cannot do all three of those things, they don't typically last with us. And we coach and grow people, but those are the three cornerstones of any attendant role here.
As far as payment options, I was curious what that looks like.
We do everything. I tell
Pretty
the
much
customers,
everything.
so how do you want to pay us? We'll take them. So we do cash. We do.
We chose to go with a dollar and quarter store, and that was because of the area, and I was hesitant to remove cash completely from the system. I'm still collecting quarters. Not a lot of fun collecting coins. That's not a lot of fun, but I gotta say, I'd say 70% of the vends are used with cash, so there's something to be said there. We went with Dexter Pay. We're a Dexter branded store, and so we went with Dexter Pay for vending the machines with an app from the customer's phone. They can tie that to their Apple Pay or their Google Pay if they want. With Curbside, one thing we didn't mention, but you brought it up, Matt, which is Curbside is our point of sale system. That is integral to operating the store and selling things and taking payments. It allows us access into the ability to use a credit card to make a purchase. So we started offering to our clients the ability to vend a machine at the point of sale terminal. So they'll say, hey, I want to start a 60-pound washer and a 50-pound dryer, and we'll just say, oh, tap, tap, slide the card, sign, and we print them a receipt, and the attendant will start it with Dexter Pay. Activate it with Dexter Pay.
We finally also have this.
Yeah.
We also have
nice.
tap to pay. We've
Finally,
been waiting
tap to
for
pay.
it. I know a lot of our customers have been asking for it, so it's here. So we're really excited to get it all set up. So
Yeah.
yay.
So we're days
That's
away from
exciting,
getting
and
that in place. Yeah.
You could also apply to accept EBT on that as well.
Oh.
And so that could be another payment option for people, which will be really neat. And then especially if you're using that to start machines, because I believe the rule is you can't have self-service EBT. It's got to have an attendant there. So if you're having your customers pay by credit card or now by EBT, they could pay at the point of sale, and then your attendant could start the machine.
That's good to know.
And what about the dollar coins? Is that the actual dollar coins, or there was tokens?
They look like this. They're dollar coins as opposed to a quarter. Some general advice I would give any laundromat owner from here on out: get rid of these quarters. Okay, only if you're going to put money into the store, only use dollar coins and vend your machines at dollar increments. When I started this whole thing, I was concerned, I want to have the granularity of being able to raise it or lower it by a quarter. Forget about it. Just simply, you set it at $1, and then, if you're going to change the price, ratchet up another $1.
It also deters from your quarter band-aids. So.
Yeah, the quarter bandits. They're after all, they come in and they steal the quarters. Yeah. But honestly, what's happening, just the flow, the dollar coins leave the store. I've got a plethora of quarters, so it's like quarter bandits come to our store, take them all.
Yeah. Well, they don't come anymore because they can't get quarters.
Yeah,
because
they put the money into the change machine, they get a bunch of dollar
so they don't
coins,
come here.
and it's like, doesn't work for them.
We were quarters for a long time. Then we went to tokens for about 15 years, I believe. We had 25-cent tokens, and then we had the dollar tokens. And we had the quarter bandits too, and they came in and got a handful of tokens, and then they never came back. So.
Yeah.
To learn more about the Curbside Laundry solution, the same one that helped Craig and Michelle exponentially grow their wash and fold and pickup and delivery solution, go to curbsidelaundries.com. And don't forget to click like and subscribe so you're reminded about part 2 of this interview with Monster Laundry.